most people will tell you that Freddie Kitchens got the job partially, or more than partially, because of his carryover with the coach of the quarterback of the team, Baker Mayfield, and the camaraderie they had worked out. Number one, do you agree with that?
I think it was a big factor. I do. Yep.
Okay. He also had some help when Freddie became coach last year. Ken Zampese, a veteran coach in the NFL, wound up being the quarterback coach. This year it's Ryan Lindley, who came from San Diego State, which I believe was his first job in major college football. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at at Baker as he last season, this under Zampese, and he connected on 63.8% of his passes. This year it's down to 60.1, 37.25 yards and 33.56 this year with 2 more games left. Touchdowns 27 versus 17, interceptions 14 versus 17, and quarterback rating 93.7 versus 78.7 this year. That's not good, 78.7. I mean, I don't think everybody understands what comprises a quarterback rating, but I can tell you 78.7 is not good.
Yeah, and I may have heard this on 92.3 again, and I would attribute it if I remembered who said it, but someone pointed out that they think he has one of the lowest, if not lowest, quarterback ratings in the fourth quarter this year.
Yeah, he's not had a fourth quarter comeback for a win.
Yeah, well, I think that game against Buffalo answered that. I think it might qualify because he led that last drive where he hits. It was the last time we saw Higgins. He hits him in the middle of the end zone.
Didn't he used to play for the Browns?
Yeah, I think he did. and who knows what's going on there, but. Yeah, I don't know. I know there's mixed. I know Jeff Shudell, who comes on and does the show occasionally, has asked a few times this year about Zampese, and of course Freddie shuts that down just as he does when people ask about whether he should give up play calling. And I know a couple other writers that think the quarterback coach is not the reason why. But I do think that if he has somebody that he really respects in the league, either as an offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach, that it could only help him. He's a second-year player. If some of his fundamentals and mechanics have gone by the wayside, it would be a good time to get those back in order.
A lot of people seem to think he showed up in camp overweight.
I thought he looked a little heavy in camp.
Yeah, but was that just overweight from not having a good structure in the off season? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's helped himself up until last week. He helped himself in a few of those games recently by taking the ball and gaining 7 or 8 yards. He scored. On one occasion, he scored against Cincinnati, I believe, doing that. Prior to that, he seemed reluctant to ever use his legs, and I thought last year he did that, to his benefit.
And get out of bounds in time.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about design plays like Lamar Jackson where he runs for 35 yards or Kyler Murray. I mean, just instead of throwing the ball away or forcing it somewhere. When it's 3rd and 5, take that 6-yard run and get down.
All right, we mentioned Zampese, we mentioned Lindley. Let's take a look at the experience factors of these guys. Zampese, 2018, was the quarterback's coach of the Browns with the Eagles as an offensive assistant, and Green Bay Packers, St. Louis Rams, and so on, Cincinnati Bengals. That's a pretty good resume, right? Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at Ryan Lindley, see what he's done. All right, he was hired as running back coach to replace Kitchens, so that was midway through the season last year, and now he's the quarterback coach. Just by looking at that, although sometimes guys are around for too long and you don't know what they would do in a new situation, but at least just looking at that, you'd say, wow, is he outclassed?
Well, I think one of the big topics of conversation, Les, is going to have to be, as soon as the season ends, have to be Baker Mayfield. I mean, he hasn't been the same quarterback. He's been terrible at times. And they have to answer the question why. And if some of it falls on him, which it almost certainly will, okay. But if it's also the way he's being coached and the way he responded to Kitchens, that's probably not a great thing for Freddie Kitchens to keep his job.
Do you think Freddie will listen if Dorsey says, look, we'll keep you on as coach, but you have to give up play calling responsibilities and we're going to bring in a real offensive coordinator, and he might be here already?
Yeah, You would think he would, I mean,
if you want the job.
Yeah, who wants to be known as a one and done in this league? Right. But he hasn't, and maybe I wouldn't either if I were in his position when it's been brought up to him this year. During in season, he certainly has shut down that line of thinking, and maybe I would too in season. But it's a little different hearing it from the media than hearing it from your general manager and owner.
But it's hard to believe that that is not part of the problem. That he wasn't ready for that particular position.
He was, look, I don't think it was too shocking to look and say he was going to be challenged this year. He had never done the job at any level.
Correct.
He's walking into a team that with a headstrong quarterback, with
high expectations, wide receivers that suddenly rank in the top 10, both of them. Maybe Right.
the one is a top 2 or 3, we thought. So, yeah, there were a lot of, and an offensive line that was going to be definitely worse because of the trade that Dorsey made in getting rid of Kevin Zeiler.
That